I was looking at what should I do. I was coming to the stage of my life, kids growing up, college, wanted to do a big music project that I could really put my time and effort into. I wanted to do so many songs, so many different singers, that I decided I'd put it all together on one album. Female singer-songwriters, really out of the 60s genre, mainly folk, a bit of folk rock. So that's Joan Baez, Judy Collins, Buffy Sainte-Marie, Sandy Denny, and then Laura Nyro, who isn't as well known this side of the Atlantic. So the title comes from a wonderful little gem of a song Laura Nyro recorded just live at a concert. It was never on a full album, called Women of the One World. And when I saw it and heard it, I just thought, yep, that's the title. That's exactly the idea for the album, and worked from then. So March 27th, 2020, this was the day we planned to launch Women of the One World, my new album. And it's a date I suppose I won't forget, because it was the day that the Taoiseach here in Ireland announced that we were going into, I suppose, lockdown. And things changed, plans changed for the album launch. We knew we couldn't do the live launch in London anyway that week. We had postponed that the week before. Cancelled TV, radio, and we had to really assess, will we go ahead and launch it on that date? But we decided, yep, but music, it's global, people need music, and we would just keep with the plan. And I think when there's a crisis, you should try and stay as normal and keep with your plans as much as possible. So Laura Nyro, I think a lot of people wouldn't know her, but they'll know her music. She was a very prolific singer-songwriter, really composed for the likes of Streisand and all the big acts of the 60s and 70s, but she had wonderful albums of her own. I suppose I discovered her through her music, not realising it was her and who she was. She's probably the last woman on the album who I really came across and decided to go with when I was researching. So as I said, the title is after one of her tracks, and then there's a very famous song, and When I Die, we've recorded it with the orchestra with a New Orleans sort of vibe. It's a fabulous song. She wrote it in her early 20s, and I love the phrase, and when I die and when I'm gone, there'll be one child born in this world to carry on. And what a concept. I might put that on my gravestone. And then there's a wonderful song which she didn't write, but I came to her through it, called It's Gonna Take a Miracle. And her recording of it and her live performance I saw on YouTube was just wonderful, and I just loved that song, and then realised she hadn't written it, but as my tribute to her I've put it on the album in a different arrangement. And again, it's very different for me to do something, it's a little bit soul, but you know, hey, it's my album, I'm going to do what I like on it.
You say, temporarily lost at sea. The Madonna was yours for free.
Joan Baez, yep. She's still going strong, her millions of fans across the world. She's still writing and as much an activist as ever in the political sense. Winner of an Amnesty Humanitarian Award in 2011. I think she was probably one of the first women singer-songwriters who inspired me and opened my eyes as a young teenager to the world at large, because you know we grew up very, very, I suppose, protected. And I suppose listening to her music, it was easier sitting down with the guitar, and you get your songbook and it's all the folk songs, Universal Soldier, all these songs, the albums, it's all her. And you're sitting there in your room playing the songs, but also you realise there's a whole movement going on, and there's a lot of stuff out in the world that ain't so great. And I think that she opened my eyes to that, certainly in my early teen years, and I think it's something and concepts I've tried to hold on to all my life. And inspirational, apart from the wonderful songwriter and performer that she is. So I've chosen two of my favourite, Diamonds and Rust, which is a great story. It's based on reality, her relationship with Bob Dylan, and I love songs that tell stories. You know, it follows the tradition also of a lot of the French music I would do. There's a narrative. It's also a beautifully structured song and a beautiful song.
Since I've spent a whole night in a twin bed with a stranger.
The second one is Love Song to a Stranger, maybe not as well known. very poignant love song, and I just fell in love with it when I heard it years ago, and I just wanted to do it. And in fact, some of my fans out there have said that it's their favourite song. So it obviously strikes a chord with some people.
What I'll give you since you've asked is all my time together.
So Judy Collins, still going strong, still performing, beautiful singer, songwriter, composer, another activist against social injustice and environmental injustice. So I think I like these strong women who stood up in the 60s. I think she's very well known still by lots of people. She's done some beautiful covers of Sondheim and also Jacques Brel and Leonard Cohen, a contemporary of Joan Baez. They performed all over the 60s and all these festivals together. I've chosen a couple of songs of hers that are maybe less well known, I don't know. I suppose to Judy Collins fans, they know her. But I've chosen what I think is the most perfect love song, Since You've Asked. It just is beautiful. The structure of the song, the melody, the way it flows and then changes, the tempo, I just love it as a song. As a singer, it's quite technically challenging, well, I found it technically challenging, but beautiful, and the orchestrations that Keane Boylan has done on this song in particular, I think are stunning.
All my sisters soon were gone.
And then another song I had to put in was My Father, and I dedicate that song to all little girls who love their dads. And that's really, we've done it in a nostalgic sort of way, like got a carousel and a brass band sound, I suppose evoking the childhood sounds of music boxes and carousels. So again, I just love the concept that we came up with for this song, and enjoy it.
You're not a dream, you're not an angel, you're a man.
So Buffy Sainte-Marie, somebody also I've loved and admired for a long time. I heard her song Soldier Blue, and I just thought, wow, what a voice. There's something so real and emotive about it. And then I just always looked for her wherever I could in music. And then years later saw the film Soldier Blue, which I suppose tells you a lot about what she is. She's native American blood. She, again, is an activist, but also a wonderful songwriter, and so surprising in the songs that she's come up with. You'd be very surprised at the choice on the album that they are actually all composed by her. I certainly was. There's a song I've always loved, and again, lots of stars have performed it in different ways. Elvis had a huge hit, slightly changed it, made it a massive hit, but we've just pared it right back. Just Kian and I did it in the studio very simply, and it's called Until It's Time for You to Go. And I just think of all the songs, it just is so perfect in its simplicity of its composition and lyrics, and just says it all, encapsulates it all. Love in that, love and loss. The themes of love and loss, I suppose, are there a lot in the album. So that song, I was just lucky to get to do it. I've always wanted to perform it.
Take my hand for a while, explain it to me once again.
The second song I chose of hers is my dedication to the wonderful Glenn Campbell, who I just loved. And he had a massive hit with this song, Take My Hand for a While. So I just wanted to do something which was a tribute to him, and also it was her composition, so this song was just perfect. And strangely enough, it's the song that everybody seems to love off the album, and is getting radio play all over the globe. So I'm absolutely delighted about that, because it was the little song that we wanted to do that we didn't really think was, one of the big hits, but it's just a beautiful song. I think songs that are just beautifully composed just work.
alive today.
So the final song I chose of hers, and you know, we sort of disputed whether we would do it, but I decided we would, is Up Where We Belong. It's her Oscar-winning song. She composed with other composers, but she actually, you can go and see her doing it very, very simply with a guitar, and we've chosen to give it the works. Everything is on this, and I just think it's very uplifting. The lyrics are wonderful, the orchestration, the backing vocals. It just is a huge uplifting song, and someday I'd love to be able to sing it with the orchestra and the choir. We live in hope.
Who knows where the time goes?
So, Sandy Denny, yep, I just love her. Initially, a few years ago, I was looking at, you know, what my next project was going to be when I had my life back to myself, so to speak. And I thought I'd do an album on Sandy Denny, do a whole project. And then I sort of let that go when this whole idea of this concept had come together. But I wanted her definitely to be featured in it because she fits in so well. She was so much part of that movement. She was great friends with Judy Collins, who performed her songs for years. I chose the song that she's most famously known for, Who Knows Where the Time Goes. If you look it up, you'll see countless people have recorded it, all the top stars, ballad singers, folk singers. And I just thought, yep, I'm definitely going to do it. Cian came up with a beautiful arrangement. The orchestration is just gorgeous, I think, on the album, and it was a privilege to sing such a wonderful song.
Mists of evening rise again. We rarely stroll the shadowed lanes as autumn night draws in.
Then, choosing what to do next, I decided to, it was a hard choice. So I decided I'd do All Our Days. It's over 5 minutes. It's very different in that it's, I suppose, not necessarily radio friendly, but I don't choose music because it's radio friendly. And then how to approach it with such a beautiful, long, pastoral poem on the seasons and on the world. So Cian came up with a beautiful arrangement, and we recorded it, and it was the song I chose for the video because it really encompasses a lot of what I wanted to say on the album. There's the whole theme of nature and life going on and the world turning, and whatever happens, we still have the seasons. So I think it's a really wonderful song, beautifully orchestrated, and it's been a joy again to be able to perform it. So Cian Boylan, I've known him quite a long time. We worked together on a project a long, long time ago, film project. So when I was approaching this album, I knew I wanted to do an album with a full orchestra and something totally orchestrated. So we had a meeting. I presented the idea, the concept, about 30 songs. We were going to work out eventually what we were going to do. And thankfully, to my relief, Cian said yes, he loved the idea and he would work with me on the project and do the arrangements. So it was a huge task. We narrowed it down to the 12 songs, and then as you'll hear from the album, the string sections, the keys, the timpani, everything. He wrote all the arrangements for all the members of the orchestra. So it was a huge task. I think beautifully accomplished, beautiful arrangements. And it's just been a wonderful project. I've been very lucky to work with Cian, and I think Cian's done just a stunning job on the whole album. And the entire project's been a joy, I hope for everybody else, but we've just had a wonderful time recording it in the studio, and then Connor, of course, on the engineering side, and then with the mixing and everything. I mean, it's a big project, a very big project. I'm happy to say it's a project we did here in Dublin. It was very important that I kept it all in Dublin and worked with all the crew I've known over the years and the wonderful musicians we have here from the orchestras. I didn't want to just go off and do it in a week in a studio somewhere abroad with an orchestra. I want to be much more organic, work on it, come back to it. Is this vocal working? What approach? And it's been an entire labour of love, and I've loved everyone on it, and I've loved everything about it. And I also feel very privileged to have had the opportunity to achieve something in my life that I've always wanted to achieve. We can't always say that.